Hello everyone, I'm Charlie Tolhurst and welcome to a new video on the Motormania series on my YouTube channel. This Motormania is a motoring series talking about all things cars and automotive news. Motoring, of course, is the whole part of this series. And we're going to be back with another information style video. Yes, today we're going to be talking all about a classic car event that is located up in Chichester Way in England. Yes, so down on the south coast of England. Yes, obviously, you know, South England, it's the southern half of England, southeast coast, Bognor Regis Way, lies a very famous track called Goodwood. But not just any event at Goodwood. Goodwood Motor Circuit has been around for a long time. And since 1998, the circuit has hosted an event called the Goodwood Revival, which was on last weekend. You can go and catch up with all of the action all over on the Goodwood social media pages. There was live streams over the weekend of classic car events that took place. Racing drivers as well that took part in many series, including Jimmy Johnson, who is an ex-NASCAR driver as well, and one of the most successful NASCAR drivers of all time. And yes, so many drivers took part as well. Jake Hill, British touring car driver who races in the British touring car series. And yes, they all took to a track last weekend. But in this video, I'm going to be going over what the Goodwood Revival actually is and how the event actually works. It's a very unique event. You know, not just to anyone. This is one of the most prestigious events on the British motorsport calendar. It's one of the biggest classic car events in the UK. And you know, I think it's a huge event. It's over a weekend, Friday to Sunday, lots of action on the Goodwood motor circuit. There is plenty of action. Now, what are the events involved in this? There's so many events that are used in this series, in this event. So many like subcategories for different events that take place, like different competitions, like different motorsport series, different racing classes. Well, let's go over today exactly what they are. So, in other words, the event includes multiple different cars, and the circuit itself remains largely unchanged since its 1952 configuration with the chicane added. Basically, now I'm going to talk to you about the races. Now, races over the 3 days weekend will include different types of racing. So, these are different classes of cars that are classic cars that have been entered for different years. And there are some real classic races in here that you really want to watch. Some great classic cars, supercars, sports cars, even a few American cars make an appearance. I'll come on to that in a minute, what some of them are. But let's have a look. Now, one of them is the Sir Sterling Moss Memorial Trophy. It used to be called the Canara Trophy, but obviously, unfortunately, Sir Sterling Moss died a few years ago. It was changed to Sterling Moss Memorial Trophy. This is 2016 to present. It is a 1 hour race. It's a 1 hour race for GT cars that raced until 1963. So, this is one of the most popular races at Goodwood, at the Revival. It is one of the headliner events of the weekend. You will see mainly the professional racing drivers racing in this event. I think I'm not sure if some of these cars do get used. Obviously, Ferrari 250s, the GTOs. You get to see lots of other classic cars as well that raced in it. Maybe some Plymouths as well. So there's plenty of classic cars that race in this. Obviously, Sterling Moss used to race around this track. Unfortunately, he had an accident back in the 60s, which unfortunately ended his career. He crashed at Goodwood, which ended his motorsport career. I think it was in 1962 he crashed down at one of the corners, which unfortunately nearly ended up killing him. But thankfully he survived it, known for that bent steering wheel. Obviously that was his career-ending crash after his F1 career. So, yes, that was the crash that ultimately ended his motorsport career. But yes, no, the trophy itself, lots of cars in that. Definitely some ones that you really want to look out for. Some of the best racing drivers, as I said, do race in that event. We also, as well, have the Richmond and Gordon trophies. This is a 25-minute race for 2.5 litre Grand Prix cars from 1954 to 1960. So cars that were sort of racing built from 1954 to 1960. You might see some classic F1 cars in this race, potentially, because these cars do race kind of around that same area. We also get to see, like, some cars as well that took part in the Mille Miglia, Targa Florio maybe as well. Some of these long expedition races that took place. That's exactly what some of these cars can be competing in. We also have as well the St Mary's Trophy. It's a Pro-Am event made up of two 25-minute races decided on an aggregate time. Now, the St Mary's Trophy, in my opinion, is one of my favourite parts of the revival, because you get to see some great classic cars in this race. Ford Lotus Cortinas, an absolute classic car from the 60s. You also get to see Morris Minis, the Mini Cooper S, the original Cooper S, the rally car, of course, that won the Monte Carlo Rally 3 times, but we saw plenty of them at the weekend. Alex Brundle was behind the wheel of one of them, one of the Morris Minis. Of course, that featured that classic transverse engine that was built many years ago by Alekis Agonis. You also get to see even some American cars. The Plymouth Barracuda also is in that as well. A massive American car, really struggling to put its power down through the corners. It's very, very tail happy. Heavy car. Obviously, these cars raced up until 66, so there are going to be some massive cars in this. Lotus Cortinas, Plymouth Barracudas. I think sometimes they put Austins in there as well. So yeah, it's really, really important. But I really enjoyed that race. Plenty of action all around the track. The Minis certainly had their paces in the corners. We also have the Whitson Trophy, which is a 20-minute race for prototypes up until 1966. There is then an event called the Royal Automobile Club Tourist Trophy Celebration. It's a 1-hour race for pros and AMs for cars up till 1964, which raced in the RACTT when it was held at Goodwood. So all cars that raced technically in an RAC event that year at Goodwood. The Glover Trophy, that's a 20-minute race for 1.5 litre Grand Prix cars between 1961 and 1965. The Goodwood Trophy, which is a 20-minute race for Grand Prix cars and Viorette cars from 1930 to 1951. So you get to see some proper classics in there. And also one of the cutest races of the whole festival and the whole event is what is called the Setrington Cup, which is a pedal car race for youngsters featuring Austin J40 pedal cars. And I have watched so many hilarious clips on YouTube of this race where you got these young kids. They basically do what is like a classic Le Mans style start. Basically, years ago in Le Mans, the drivers used to run to their cars. Before we had rolling starts invented, the drivers used to run in their cars, get belted up and then race off. Nowadays, it's too dangerous. The cars are more powerful now. Back then, the cars weren't as powerful. And a lot of the time, back in the day, they never used to have windscreens. Now a lot of them are closed wheel cars now. So they have all the roofs, windscreens over, the proper safety systems in place. But you see all these kids running up to the cars, and then they do this pedal race down the main start-finish straight up to the start line. And it's so fun to watch these kids race. It's very hilarious. It's actually really good comedy. And yeah, it's a great event. It celebrates, obviously, young children who have got a huge career, who love cars, Maybe they've got family members that love cars, and obviously bought these little Austin J40 cars as, to use. It's just hilarious, They like cardboard cutouts of cars, or little toy cars that race. It's really, really cool. They actually race these little pedal power cars. It looks like something you'd get on the toy. It looks like something you'd get off the shelf in Smith's Toy Superstores, and then you're actually on the track. It's really cool. Trust me, I used to have one as a kid. Not one of them, but a different car. I don't know what it was. It was like a Mini or something. I used to pedal one as a kid. But honestly, it's really fun, and this event is really iconic. The whole ambience of Goodwood Revival is a huge event. Not just you're obviously going to get the car displays. You'll see, as I said, Lotus Cortinas, Ferrari 250s. G250s as well. You also get to see like Plymouth Barracudas, the Minis. As I said, some of the cars that are always at 10, maybe Chevrolet Camaros as well. Some cars that used to be at Goodwood years ago. Some vintage cars could be there as well. So classic and vintage car displays are not short on order here. You also get as well great food, and you also get to showcase your fashion as well. And they also hold auctions here a lot of the time as well. Sometimes, some part of the day they'll do an auction, and they'll auction off some classic cars. And I know Richard Hammond's workshop once on one of their shows auctioned a Lancia off to one of their owners to build a leopard enclosure. So yeah, it's certainly very interesting. But I thought I'd do a video for you guys on the event. It's such an important event. I really want to go one day to this event. It's such an iconic event. You know, this event it's not like a proper championship event. It's just like a fun day out, a fun festival. You know, it's like a festival style event. It's got some great racing. You celebrate classic car racing, the best of British classic car racing. You know, it's held on the iconic Goodwood track. It's one of the most popular track events in the country for classic car enthusiasts. You know, some people take classic cars that they're modified, like MGBs and stuff, or maybe more than that, and race in these events. It's really iconic, and I have to say, the Goodwood Revival continues to go strength to strength every year. It's such an iconic event for the UK. It's held always in the early part of September every year. It's always that event that gears the schools up. It's an event that always happens just when the schools go back. It's like such an iconic event. It's really important that, in my opinion, you actually go and watch this. If you love classic cars, this is a great event for you. And I think the Goodwood Revival will continue to go from strength to strength every year and really become a classic car safe haven for many fans to enjoy. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all from my YouTube video tonight. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any comments, please drop them below. And like and subscribe to my channel, Chaz the Squash. I will alert you when new videos get uploaded. Take care, and we'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.